This is Wednesday, so today, this week, we are talking about our favorite witchy holidays. And I myself don't have just one favorite witchy holiday. I have more than one. All 8 are not my favorite, but I do have a few that are. So what I'm going to do this week is talk about the ones that I like, that are my favorite, and a little bit about why I like them. So, to start out, there are 4 of the 8 that I like to participate in the most. Unfortunately, the other 4 I don't always do ritual on, but my 4 favorites, I'm the type of person that will kind of go all out for these 4. I know that that's not right. I know I should do a little bit for each one to help celebrate, but I don't. And I'm not proud of that, but I just can't get into the motivated state with the other 4 like I do with my 4 favorites. So, that being said, my first favorite witchy holiday is Imbolc. Excuse me. And the reason I like this one the best, well, not the best, but the reason I like this one is, to me, it represents the first comings of spring. It's usually when, right around that time is usually when the Easter lilies start to come up, in my area anyway, and you start seeing the first signs of green, not so much on the trees, but this year in particular, there were some budding on my trees on Imbolc, which doesn't happen every year, but this year it was, so I was happy about that. And what I do for Imbolc is I do a ritual, and I try to include my husband in on this ritual. He also enjoys Imbolc, so we do a family ritual, but it's not full family. I don't include Bree in with any of the rituals yet. For me, she's still just a bit too young, and her mind wanders a little bit too much, and I couldn't get her to the type of ritual we do for Imbolc specifically, is more of a meditation, sort of. So we tend to sit and think about the things that have happened within the past year and how we can better ourselves and how we can bring on what we need to bring on for the rest of the year to keep us healthy and motivated and energized and growth, which is what Imbolc represents to me, is growth. So my Imbolc ritual is more of a meditation, and I do I'll usually do some sort of a bread, and I will inscribe on the bread a pentagram, and I will have that with my ritual. Usually, I will have wine. I'm not too much of a wine drinker, but I do buy wine a few times a year to have in the house just for this. Usually what I don't drink, the man will. But this year, on the other hand, I was not able to buy wine for specific reasons, and so I had to go with another drink substance. So that's what I do for Imbolc. My second favorite witchy holiday is Beltane. Beltane to me represents the fairies, and it's the first thinning of the veil, And I do work with a lot of fairies. I have a couple in my house, one of them that watches over the family, and one of them watches over my daughter. I am in the process of making a fairy house. I have not done a video or anything over it. It's more of an elaborate fairy house than what you would see. This one's quite large, but it's something that I am doing, my husband is doing, and as Brie gets a little bit older, she'll be able to help and add to it as well. And Beltane, to me, it represents not only springtime, but everything is coming into bloom, everything is coming to life, everything is coming full color, and that is the one thing I do not like about winter, because to me winter is a very dead season, and I enjoy having the color of the trees and the leaves and the flowers and the stuff that goes along with summertime, but summer's not my favorite holiday. Summer's not my favorite season. Fall is actually my favorite season. But I would much rather have summer and spring than winter. Winter is just very dreary and dead for me, and winter is usually when I go through my spiritual depression, and it happened again this year. Things did not help matters, but things that happened in my life didn't help matters with my spiritual depression, but at the same time, my spiritual depression also was released a little bit early because of this life-changing thing that I'm going through right now. And it kind of brought me out of that spiritual depression and has brought me full circle back around to where I need to be. So this in particular year's spiritual depression did not last as long as what I am used to going through. So for Beltane, I will usually do a ritual that is outside. The ritual usually consists of milk and honey that I will mix, and I have a fairy tree that's outside that it's been my fairy tree for pretty much as long as I've lived here. So all of my offerings and stuff get put out there. And I have a hagstone, and I will give the hagstone to my daughter. And I started this maybe when she turned 3, and I told her with the hagstone, now people might not use hagstones for this reason, but I do. But I gave her the hagstone, and I told her that if she looked on Beltane, if she looked through the hole of a hagstone, that she would be able to see fairies. And to this day, she says she can. But it's just something to make her excited and want her to be a part of the ritual. Well, a part of the festivities, not so much the ritual. The ritual for Beltane I usually do by myself. The festivities and stuff is usually done outside, and if Brian is up to it and home, then he will be included in with it. But usually it's just me and Bree that'll go outside and give the offering, and she'll bring her little hagstone, and so that's what we do for Beltane. My third favorite holiday is Samhain. Samhain to me represents my ancestors, and it is also the second thinning of the veil. Sorry, my furnace turned on and I thought I heard something. And I am able to connect with my past a little bit easier on Samhain. I don't traditionally do a dumb supper or anything like that, only because I don't have the room here. But my altar changes drastically for Samhain. I will have all of my pictures and all of my husband's pictures of our deceased family members out, and we will use, that is the night that we will mainly use my spirit board that I got from my good friend. And we don't use my spirit board all that much, but we do use it on Samhain to try and connect. We have we connect every year, but sometimes we connect stronger than others. It kind of really just depends on the energy within the room. I've noticed, like, this past Samhain, we were able to connect really good. But the past 2 years before that, we weren't able to connect very well. And Brian and I think the reasoning we weren't able to connect very well is because we held a Halloween party here for a few of my friends, and there were a lot of energy in the room, and kids and adults, and it was just the energy that we wanted, that we felt this year, was completely different than what we have felt in the past 2 years. So we think that's why we were able to connect a little bit better this year rather than the last 2 years. What do I do for Samhain? Well, we usually do, I myself usually do the ritual, with Brian working third shift. By the time he gets home and stuff, that's when we will usually work on the spirit board. Work with the spirit board, not on the spirit board. I will usually do a yearly reading on myself with a special deck that I use specifically for Halloween. It might be, not traditional, but what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but the deck that I use is the Halloween Oracle. Go figure, right? But it really works best for me on Halloween when I use that deck, and that's really the only time that I do use that deck is for Halloween. And I will do like a yearly reading on myself, pull cards, see what I need to do to change, and this year's brought lots of change, and it sure did. And so that's what we do for Samhain. And then my last favorite holiday is Yule, and I myself associate Yule with basically just the season in general. I am still, because of my past and because of my daughter, I still very much do Christmas in this house, but it's not for, you probably all see it on Facebook all the time, the reason for the season. It's not for that. Christmas, to me, Christmas is gift giving, not so much remembering who brought on that season, because, well, we all know who did, and but Yule to me is the season of giving, and that's how I look at it. I don't particularly I don't know where I was going with that, but let me just start that all over. Not all over, but just let me back up a little bit. The reason I like Yule is the gift giving, to be honest with you. That might sound selfish of me, but I am a very giving person, and I try to do what I can to help people out, especially around Yule and the holiday season. Whether it be material items or even monetary items, giving, I will try and do my best to help out who I can with what I have and what I can do to help other people. So that is how I see Yule. I do set up an altar and do, a little ritual, but it's nothing real fancy. but that's my take on Yule. I know it's not traditionally what everybody thinks of Yule, but that's just the way I see Yule. That might be selfish of me, but Yule is when I tend to be the most generous and be the most giving and the most helpful. And as some of my members of Witch of the Moon know, that sometimes my gift giving doesn't always happen on time. Sometimes it takes me a few months to get it out and to get it to them, but it's the thought that counts. And the idea was there around the time of the Yule giving, of Yule and the gift sharing and all that. So, yeah. So those are the 4 favorite holidays that I like. If I had to pick one out of those 4, it would probably have to be, I don't know, it's still really hard to choose between Beltane and Samhain. Those are my 2 favorites. So they, one comes in close to the second, so, yeah. So that's all I got to say on this week's topic. Until next week, guys. See you later. Bye.